Today, though, we're going to be honing in on just a few of these areas. One is lookup relationship fields, which let you connect related users, organizations, and tickets. And we're going to talk about conversational data orchestration, which is a custom automation and integration tool. First, though, let's look at a key trend that we're seeing with Platform to help set the stage for both of these features. So one of the biggest trends that we've seen this year is businesses wanting more power and flexibility to create conversational experiences with their customers, experiences that feel seamless and personal, where customers aren't left on hold while agents hunt down information in multiple systems, where customers don't have to repeat themselves about things agents should already know, and where support conversations are actually meaningful because they're focused on the tough stuff that customers really need help with, not the simple things that they'd rather have be done automatically without having to talk to an agent. So the two new capabilities we're going to dive into today can help you give customers those more conversational experiences that they're looking for. First, we'll talk about lookup relationship fields, which just went live this month and which we'll share more about at our quarterly What's New event next week. If you haven't already registered for What's New, please do. We'll be sharing a link where you can do that. What's great about lookup relationship fields is that they let you really customize your data in Zendesk. You can use them to connect related users, tickets, and organizations, and then surface that related data where agents need it most. Agents can use lookup fields to get the context they need so they can deliver faster, more personalized support without having to interrupt the flow of the customer conversation to dig for that information or ask the customer for it. Then we're going to talk about conversational data orchestration, which we announced at our annual Relate event in May. Conversational data orchestration is a custom pro-code automation and integration tool. You can use it to take action on events that are happening in Zendesk or in external systems that you connect to Zendesk. And what's great is that with conversational data orchestration, you can instantly respond to customer activity and business processes with a really customized experience. Agents can do their job more efficiently while keeping their focus on the customer, and customers really get that more seamless and personalized experience that they're looking for. So now we're going to dive deeper. We're going to start with a demo of lookup relationship fields, and then Ashwin Raju, our product manager for lookup fields, is going to start sharing some of those use cases and best practices to help you get the most out of lookup fields.
Lookup fields let you customize the data you surface in Zendesk so agents have the context they need to deliver the right support. For example, let's say you're a financial services company that interacts with people related to your customers. People like secondary account holders, family members, and beneficiaries. With lookup fields, you can associate these people with your customers, allowing agents to better understand the customer relationship and quickly take action on it. For instance, by adding a secondary account holder lookup to customer profiles, agents can enter and access that information with a click. For another example, let's say you're an online retailer that relies on shipping carriers to deliver customer orders. To make it easier to track and resolve shipping issues, you use a lookup field to connect customer tickets to the right carrier, surfacing that information directly on ticket forms. Finally, let's say you're a technology company that dedicates relationship managers to the businesses you serve. You add a lookup field to customer organization pages to make it easy for agents to contact the right relationship manager. Once you've created a lookup field, you can automatically take action on it with triggers. For example, by adding relationship managers as followers on customer tickets. Save agents time and deliver faster, more personalized service with lookup fields.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Ashwin Raju, and I'm a product manager working on lookup fields at Zendesk. I'm really excited to talk to you about lookup fields and share a few ideas and best practices to help your team get the most out of lookup fields. So let me first acknowledge the fact that although lookup fields is a super powerful feature, it's a relatively complex feature to understand. So animation, next click, please. To help you understand lookup fields a little better, I want to start by sharing a few examples on how you might use lookup fields. One of the most common use cases is around surfacing users and organizations on related tickets and organization pages. Next, please. Yeah. You can see a lot of examples on the slide, and this is something that we're going to talk about. But let's start with a few examples on surfacing users on tickets. On a ticket, you can already see related users like requesters, assignees, and followers. However, you might want to see other type of related users on the tickets, let's say like field technicians or relationship managers, so that the agent can get more context that they need to service the customers quicker. Next, let's look at, no, actually, can we go back to the previous slide? Yeah. Next, let's look at a few examples on surfacing organizations on tickets. Lookup fields let you go beyond just associating the requester's organization with the ticket. You can use them to surface more unique types of organizations on tickets, let's say like billing organization, client organization, and even shipping carriers, as you saw in the example. So for example, a customer in the B2B service industry might want to associate a billing organization to the ticket so that they can charge the customer for the time spent on the ticket. And lastly, you can also surface users and organization on organization pages. So for example, in the B2B industry, you might want to surface an account manager or a customer organization on a customer organization page so that the agents can quickly find the right person to reach out to. Or let's say you're in the franchise business. You might want to associate a particular franchise with the parent company, and the lookup fields will help you enable that. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. Moving on to point 2, let's say you want to build a lookup relationship field between 2 standard objects, which are users, tickets, and organizations, standard objects. But you're not sure which of these objects you want to add the lookup field to and which of these objects you want to look up from that field. There's a simple trick I follow to avoid this confusion. A lookup field enables you to build a one-to-many relationship between your standard objects. You need to create the lookup field always on the many side of the relationship. So let me explain that to you with an example. Imagine that you have a relationship manager who's assigned to multiple client organizations. So in this example, the relationship manager is on the one side of the relationship, and the client organization is on the many side. Because there's one relationship manager associated with multiple client organizations, you want to create the lookup field as a field in the organization page, and the lookup users from it. So when you have one-to-many relationships like this, put the lookup field on the many side of the relationship. Moving on to the last point, a best practice you can use is adding filters to lookup fields. In the demo, for example, you see that an end user filter was applied to secondary account holder lookup field. Was that filter with that filter in place, we only see end user names in the lookup field, so that agents don't have to sort through other type of users that are not really relevant. You can also create filters using tags and custom fields that you've created. So for instance, let's say you're in the delivery business and have a custom field called employee type to categorize your employees. And let's say you want to create a lookup field for surfacing your delivery agents on your customer tickets. You can add a filter using the employee type custom field that you've created in such a way that only delivery agents can be selected from that in that lookup field. So this way, your support team can add the right delivery agent to customer tickets without having to sift through a large list of users that might not even be relevant. So to recap, we started off with talking about a few different use cases that might make look of field a powerful feature for you and provide a lot of context for your agents. Then we talked about the best practices on creating lookup fields. First thing, when in doubt, where to create the lookup field, always create the lookup field on the many side of the many-to-one relationship. Another best practice that we talked about was to create filters on lookup fields so that you can narrow down what values the agent can see on this field. So if you have a use case in mind and think that, hey, lookup fields might solve for this use case, the best way to find out is to just try it out in your instance. If you already have tickets, users, and organizations in your instance, you will already have this feature enabled for you. So that's it around lookup fields. Next, Merzad Kutar, our manager for platform architecture, is going to share a few use cases and best practices on conversational data architecture. But before hearing from him, let's go through a demo on how the orchestration works.
Jane recently ordered a new wardrobe from online retailer Sandy Shores for a beach vacation she had coming up. Unfortunately, the vacation was canceled due to bad weather, so Jane requests a refund through a form on Sandy Shores' website. Sandy Shores is using conversational data orchestration to create a more seamless return experience for Jane, getting the integration, flexibility, and powerful developer tools they need without the cost or complexity that usually comes with custom solutions. With conversational data orchestration, Sandy Shores applies the right level of automation to the process. When Jane submits her request, an automated workflow between ShopCart, Sandy Shores' e-commerce platform, and Zendesk immediately kicks off, and a ticket is created in Zendesk. Sandy Shores has built the workflow to boost agent productivity by automating refunds on smaller orders, so Jane's order value is instantly checked. If her order were less than $200, the refund would automatically be issued through ShopCart, thanks to conversational data orchestration's custom business logic. Jane's order was over $200 though, so that's not what happens. Instead, the workflow goes to another step that Sandy Shores set up. Because the company only guarantees large order refunds to loyal customers, they've configured conversational data orchestration to check Jane's total lifetime order value based on all of the purchases she's made in the past. She's done a lot of shopping at Sandy Shores, so her refund is automatically processed in ShopCart. Finally, in order to deliver a personalized touch to a high-value customer like Jane, conversational data orchestration forwards the ticket onto an agent with a task to follow up. The agent reviews Jane's ticket, sees that her refund has been issued, and, feeling bad for Jane and her missed vacation, shares a discount code that she can use to brighten up her next one. Sandy Shores instantly responds to customer activity with the right level of automation and personalization needed to deliver a great customer experience.
I'm going to walk you through a couple of examples to be able to get you to understand this better. Just a little bit about conversational data orchestration is a part of Zendesk integration services, which really feeds out of events that are streamed from Zendesk so that you can act onto those events as they happen, which makes it even more powerful. And that was really what you kind of got a glimpse of from the from the demonstration earlier. So in the example that you saw, we can automate these complex workflows, and we can connect Zendesk to e-commerce platforms so that you can tailor the automated experience in ways that you've not been able to do prior with Zendesk. It could be not only an e-commerce platform, but a financial service company that could automate membership renewals or cancellations through an automated workflow, and that's what makes this really powerful. Let me give you an example. So if you kind of click onto the first use case, so we're going to be focusing on automating simple routine customer interactions. I'll give you an example of a customer that's used this as they kind of moved on to Zendesk. So traditionally, they have had their customers having to put in a form, and then the agents would go in and look at the request for cancellation of a subscription, go into another system, and manually go in and turn off subscriptions. However, now that they have been enabled on this platform and they have built this workflow, which by the way is very easy to do comparatively for the kind of savings or automation that you get. And we'll talk about those details in a moment. But what they've been able to do is take the request from a form. It could be also a messaging experience as they kind of move to our messaging capabilities in the near term, and then take that request of the ticket, have it captured so that you can have all your reporting and everything and get the granularity that you want. But then taking that request, go and reach out to an external subscription management endpoint or an API, perform the necessary request, because you can write your custom logics into doing all of these decisioning, and then finally have, if that toggle of the subscription was able to be turned off, send an automated response back to the customer acknowledging that this has been completed and making it completely hands-free from an agent to actually interact with. However, if there is an odd use case or there is a failure in being able to do that, you can now also have a conversational data orchestration have that ticket automatically assigned to a specific agent to kind of look in and see where those issues are. It could be something, it could be an edge case scenario, which now goes into a queue automatically for an agent to troubleshoot. So with that, let's move on to some of the other interesting use cases that you can perform with regard to conversational data orchestration. So if we proceed to the next slide, let's look at the second use case. And one more transition, please. So let's now look at the second scenario, which is syncing data between Zendesk and other systems. So this addresses a very large use case around synchronization of the data between Zendesk and other systems so that agents have a complete customer view of all the context they need. For example, you could use conversational data orchestration to update Zendesk profiles with customer data, store those in marketing or sales tools, or you could automatically add an order information stored inside of an order management system into a customer's ticket. Let me give you another example of a customer who's used this capability and some of the efficiencies that they've been able to get. So it's a retail customer that's using conversational data orchestration to look up order information inside of an SAP system. One of the benefits of the platform capabilities, you're now able to parse through even data if it's coming from an email and identify those special keys and have that populated. So if an order information is put inside of an email, you can now take that and populate it inside of a ticket via the same workflow engine, and then have that built in to look up information into a sidebar app with context to the order number. So in this case, the agent has the ability to get all of that information plus additional information that needs to be pre-populated into the ticket from the SAP system that's context to the order, which could help for reporting and also be done behind the scene in a complete automated way. So that's another very interesting scenario of how you can have synchronizing of the data. And I would probably just want to touch on the level of effort, right? But we didn't really get to talk about it in the first use case. But these kind of requests take not more than 10 to 20 hours of build. It is a pro developer tool, so you're going to have somebody required to write those and script those. But once those are scripted, it's very easy to be able to maintain, and it just runs behind the scene for scenarios that the logics are built for. So that's really the power of what some of these workflow engines are being able to enable our customers today. And finally, let's talk about a third use case, which is around customizing the Zendesk ticketing workflow experience. So we can use conversational data orchestration to customize the workflow experience across the system. An example could be to create a custom flow between Zendesk and a contact center software to align how our teams work and use both the tools together. Another example could be Zendesk ticketing system to be able to close out duplicate tickets that are coming in by the same requester or within the same workflow. So we have ways to auto check on certain ticket workflows and take actions behind the scene without the intervention of an agent altogether. In the same bucket, I would like to talk about another real life customer example, which is a B2B customer, and the way they have tackled their problem with this conversational data orchestration capability is being able to split tasks. This is, as some of you know, an ability that Zendesk cannot perform natively. We do not have the ability to create more than one task on a request that's coming in. But what was possible to be done with this scenario was an email that's coming in with multiple recipients, with multiple CC requests, now could be listened or viewed inside of the audit logs. And then we can kind of build a logic for conversational data orchestration to take those unique requests and split them into various work streams in parallel, and also have them linked to the parent request. In this way, you can actually build a workflow that kind of spawns beyond what was traditionally possible with Zendesk. So these are just some of the great examples that you can achieve with Zendesk conversational data orchestration. So in closing, I would like to re-emphasize the three scenarios. We looked at being able to automate our workflows, keep our systems in sync with the data, and then finally customizing workflows on top of Zendesk. So with that, I'll probably hand it over to our next section, which is really around the questions that we've heard from you.
Thanks, Mirzad, and thanks Ashwin and Peter as well. It's really exciting to see this incredible and new, powerful, functionality that is really going to supercharge everybody's ability to handle their work in Zendesk. And now, so I want to apologize that I know some of our slides have been hard to read. We're going to figure out what's going on with that and try to make it more readable for next time. But we will share the slide deck out with you so you can review those at your leisure and see them in all their glory. But for now, let's move on to our first Q&A. We're going to have Peter, Mirzad, and Ashwin answer some questions here. So first question. Do the features shown at Relate and these features that you're talking about today, do they cost anything extra? Do I have to pay anything extra for these? Ashwin, what do you say to that?
I can go with an answer. Thank you so much again, Dave, for that question. For conversational data orchestration, the feature is available on Suite, Growth, Professional, and Enterprise. And it's also available in Support, Professional, and Enterprise plans as well. And there is no additional cost or need to subscribe on a separate platform. For lookup fields, it's available in all Zendesk Suite plans as well as legacy support plans as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashwin. All right, next question. What types of Zendesk data can go in a lookup field? Ashwin, what's the answer to that?
All right. You can use lookup fields to build relationships between users, tickets, and organizations within the support area of the product. However, I just wanted to answer some of the areas that lookup fields is currently not available, but we're working towards it. One, it's not currently available in Guide, to explore, sell, and some of the other capabilities outside of support. We are working towards enabling some of these capabilities as well.
Awesome. And I did see there was a question in the chat earlier that if you're using a user in there, they can be external users and not just agents. Is that right?
That is absolutely right.
Awesome. All right, next question. Do I need to know code to make changes in platform to really take advantage of these capabilities?
Yeah, I can take this question, Dave.
Awesome.
So the answer to that is it really depends, right? Our platform is extremely comprehensive and we have many capabilities, right from our workflow engine tools to tools for our agents, admins, and developers. So we really kind of give a lot of capability. So for example, if you're trying to build a workflow through our flow builder tool, you do not definitely need to know how to code because that's something that can be easily configured, dragged and dropped into a canvas. However, there are other capabilities such as building apps through our Zendesk application framework. That definitely needs some level of development because you've got to consume the data that's coming in from the other system and then kind of display it within the app itself. So that definitely needs some level of development, but I would say very light, and it's on all open standards. So you're not tied into any developer ecosystem, or you don't need to relearn to code. It's all something that is known very easily with skills available out there. And then I would say for what we've seen for the customer, conversational data orchestration specifically, it does require, as Peter mentioned, and we've talked about it, and in its current phase, it's a pro code tooling capability, but extremely powerful. And that's also goes back to Zendesk's ability to be an API-first company and give these tools to our customers to start leveraging and building really strong use cases on. But also we've had a very thoughtful process in mind while building those, right? So you don't need to learn any heavy side coding. It's very declarative, JSON, open standards, modern technology code, very light and easy to run. And that's what makes it really powerful. So that I would say would be in a nutshell the answer to, does all of our pieces of the platform you need to learn to code? Absolutely not. But there are some that are stronger in a developer capacity, and some are more matured and are available with more admin navigations.
Awesome. Thanks, Mirzad. The next question I think really is closely related and builds on that too. How long does it take to build out the Zendesk platform? Do I need a developer? So I think you kind of answered some of that already, but is there any indication about like how long does it take people if they do want to build an app or they want to do something that requires code? How quickly can they get that up and running?
So that's a great question. I think I would say the answer depends on the maturation. A lot of our customers kind of break out their development in phases, but typically for being able to consume data and view it within the app, it's 90% of our customers are able to get a solution up and running in less than 8 weeks. And that's really to the value proposition of the Zendesk platform and the total cost of ownership at the end of the day, just because of our ability to consume that in a client-side app and be able to display it very easily. That's what makes it so easy to turn in and start getting the benefits of building a really important integration within such a short time. When it comes to conversational data orchestration, the amount of time really takes upon how complex the use case you want to. As we mentioned, there are so many ways and steps that you can fork the use case, so many decision trees. So it really depends. So it could probably go on from a few days to maybe a week or 2 weeks. Maybe a developer at the max is what you require. Those are all something which is very easily available for most of our customers. And that's the reason why we've seen such a great uptake on this platform capability, because customers have started to embrace it and use it and see the power of it.
Right. And similarly, I think with something like the Flow Builder, like you can get a simple flow setup very quickly, and it's just a matter of how complex you want to make it. But that doesn't require a developer either, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, Flow Builder is absolutely something that the admin can design. It also brings in our knowledge. It brings in custom steps. It brings in external steps. So our Flow Builder also has a part of the conversational data orchestration layer built in, which allows you to go into an external system, fetch some data, and surface it back. And that's really how we are bringing this capability almost ubiquitously across the entire Zendesk ecosystem. So, thanks for bringing up that point, Dave. I think it's important to mention that we are not only giving you a standalone capability, but the entire Zendesk platform is embracing a conversational data orchestration layer throughout the entire build of the product.
Awesome. And I think that takes us nicely into the next question. How do I get started with conversational data orchestration? It sounds like Flow Builder might be a good way to get started with that. Is that right?
I would say yes, to be able to embrace that in, and you want to be able to really start leveraging the capabilities without having to really build something very sophisticated. You can start off by just bringing in an HTTP step, which is a function inside of our conversational data orchestration to go and fetch the data. However, if you want to build out something more comprehensive, you can build it out standalone and it doesn't have to be tied to Flow Builder. So you have many optionalities over here. We do have some great resources. We have a getting started tutorial. We've got a ton of documentation on our site. And for those who feel they need to have some kind of more hands-on help, our professional services are always there to help you and build it. They have built tons of implementations for our customers and can turn around a solution in short weeks. So would definitely recommend looking at whatever option works best for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mirzad. All right, moving on to a different question. What's coming up for messaging in regards to the platform? Peter, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, this ties in really well to what Mirzad was talking about. We have an exciting new capability coming up. We're going to be talking about it more at the What's New event next week. So again, if you haven't registered, do that. But in a nutshell, this new capability is going to let you create a new step within Flow Builder that allows you to gather details from customers. So you can gather more of the right information, and then you can actually feed that information to your external systems and then pull data from those systems back into the customer conversations automatically. And so that new Flow Builder step is actually built with conversational data orchestration. So you don't need to do any coding. It's just a new capability that will be available within Flow Builder, but behind the scenes, it's exactly the same feature that we talked about today.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. The next question is, how can I optimize my answer bot flow?
Yeah, I can take this one. And so another question on messaging, just in case you're not familiar with AnswerBot. AnswerBot's a virtual customer automatically respond to customer questions with Zendesk help articles. There are a lot of ways to optimize your AnswerBot flows, but a really good place to start is actually just by evaluating how your flows are doing today. So Zendesk Analytics and Reporting has a pre-built dashboard called Flow Builder that you can use to monitor your bot's performance. You can use it to see how many users received a message from the bot, how many users are actively engaged with the bot, and how many conversations were transferred from the bot to an agent. We do have some resources on this, which we'll share here just momentarily as well. So thanks for this question.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. And next question. What is the difference between messaging and live chat? I know that's a question we tend to get a lot.
Yeah, it's a good question. So live chat is our legacy chat solution. It's session-based, it's synchronous, has traditional queues, analytics, and reporting. Messaging is our newer out-of-the-box solution for real-time conversations or ones that can be automated with Flow Builder. So really the next generation. What makes messaging more powerful is that it comes with built-in automation that lets you add a bot to conversations. So the bot can deliver responses 24/7, intelligently escalate to agents, and then help with agent triaging as well. So we do have a resource on this, again, commonly asked question that we'll share out here.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. Next question for Ashwin. What's coming up next for Zendesk Objects, Relationships, and Events?
Oh, this is a question that is pretty close to my heart. Because my awesome tech team and my design team are actually working towards rebuilding custom objects. The new build, at least from an object standpoint, we are working on rebuilding custom objects to unlock value by delivering a low-code, no-code custom object experience that works with tickets, triggers, and other Zendesk products. With the new custom objects, you'd actually find that it is very easy for you to build custom objects, manage your data within Zendesk, and use it with some of our other Zendesk native products as well. In terms of relationships, with the new custom objects experience, you will be able to use lookup fields to build relationships between tickets, users, organizations, and custom objects. This will enable you to add more context to your tickets and also build a 360-degree view of your customers. And we are seeing a lot of use cases being unlocked with this capability. And then finally, with events, we are unlocking the ability to see more customer activity events like help center and community engagement. And soon, we'll be launching a new customer profile page where you'll be able to see these events on the new customer activity timeline. So that's a long answer for a lot.
Thanks, Ashwin. That's a great answer, though. Hey, we got a couple questions from our chat that I thought we might be able to address here. Sydney asks, "Are you able to remove certain data from being searched, macros, certain end users, etc.?"
So from a lookup fields standpoint, right? Lookup fields have this capability called filters that I talked about. Wherein you can say, okay, these are the kind of fields, these are the kind of data that I want to see in a lookup field. So for example, let's say in a relationship manager, I don't want to see end users. I just want to see people who are within the company. And you can define additional filters using custom fields and tags to filter or enable the agent to select the right relationship manager in that field.
Awesome, thanks.
I just want to add on for some other use cases around just being able to hide the data or not allow certain agents to use it. You have the ability to have Zendesk conversation data orchestration intervene into that ticket and remove certain followers that may not be a part of a group that need to see information. So there are other ways you can also protect certain amount of data being visible, right? Because it's an entire backend system that's running that knows how to validate certain information. You can kind of have that run behind the scene and also obfuscate some of that data that doesn't need to be easily visible to specific agents.
Yeah, yeah, and for an example of macros, for example, you can restrict macros to certain groups. So that's a great way to allow certain people access to certain macros, and then restrict those from other people being able to use them. All right, let's go to the next question here in the chat, or the next question. Yeah, well, yeah, sure. There's another question in the chat here from Lydia. So just asking about the new. This new flow builder functionality, when is it going to be generally available?
Yeah, Lydia, thanks for the question. So we'll be announcing at our What's New event this next week. And what's new is for all those capabilities that are going to be going live within the quarter. So Q3 can expect to see that.
Awesome, awesome. And then Darren's got a question here too about lookup fields. Can lookup fields be used to filter the values in a custom field base? Sorry, Darren, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking here. Can lookup fields be used to filter the values in a custom field based on a value of another custom field? So I guess filtering one custom field from another. Darren, if you can ask your question again, and maybe add some more detail, that'd be great. And we'll try to answer that. And in the meantime, let's go to the next slide. And then what's coming up next for the Agent Workspace with Platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the overview on Platform, we talked about how AI and intelligence is a really important part. And that capability is going to be surfacing within Agent Workspace. So we have some exciting AI capabilities for Agent Workspace coming out, along with custom ticket statuses. And those we'll be talking about, again, at the What's New event next week.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Peter. Sydney had added some context on her question around searching. She says, we've got groups set up for macro permissions, but our agents are cross-trained, so they have access to a bunch of macros, and wrong macros get used sometimes, yeah. We've tried contextual workspaces, but searching macros removes any restriction. But if you search the macros, that removes any restrictions that are set there. We're wondering if lookup fields would be able to help with that.
Sydney, not really. I mean, if you're looking at, let's say, restricting macros to certain agent types versus enabling macros for certain other agent types, lookup fields might not be the right solution for that. Lookup fields enables you to just create relationships between users, tickets, and ops, and it's not really a permission setting.
Awesome, thanks. And thanks, Darren, for adding some more details. So Darren clarifies, if I have a custom field called product type, and I have a value in this for computers, and I have a custom field called products, if I select computers from one type, then values in the product field are filtered to only show products related to computers. Does that sound like that actually sounds a bit like a conditional field. Is that right?
It does sound like that. Dave, is it okay if I just answer the question offline?
Yeah, please go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you want to just answer that in the chat there?
Yeah, that's
okay.
I mean, I have
so Darren, Ashwin is going to respond to you in the chat, and let's move on to our last official question here in our slides. And what areas of the platform are we looking to develop in the future?
Yeah, so this is a great question. And so there are a lot of areas we're looking to develop, of course, but a few key ones that would be happy to share where you can expect to see releases coming up soon are more enhancements to conversational data orchestration, including extending the ProCode developer first tools, as well as extending the flow builder enhancements. Expect to see, again, AI-powered routing, as well as other workflow tools like SLA workflow enhancements and the ability to push triggers live from a premium sandbox. We'll also be enhancing analytics with a more unified reporting experience. And then you can expect to see more capabilities for security, reliability, and resilience, like enhanced license management and data control.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Peter. All right, so that is the last of our official questions there. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We're glad to have you here, and thanks for asking such great questions. Peter, Mirzad, and Ashwin, thank you so much for sharing all of your expertise. I learned a lot. I hope everybody else did too. Again, we're recording this event, and either in the next few days, you'll get a link to the recording of this event. You get a link to the Q&A summary, and we will share the slides as well. And now we'll move on and let you know about a couple of things that are coming up soon. We can bump our slides forward here. First thing I want to highlight is user groups. So this is a new program that we are about to roll out. This is a program that's going to let you connect with other Zendesk users in areas that you want to connect with them with. So we're going to put a link here in the chat about user groups, and we encourage you to check that out. There's an article that talks about them, and there's also a link to an interest form. If you're interested in being part of this program, either just participating or even running one yourself, please do go check that out. I think there's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of good learning to be done there. Next up, we've mentioned this a couple times already, but we've got our What's New, our Q3 webinar coming up. That's on August 2nd in the Americas. But we've got a few different times there available. We really encourage you to register for these and check these out. There's a lot of great information about things all across the Zendesk products that are coming up and going to be released here. And then finally, our next community event. This is going to be preparing your support team for the holiday season. I think we might have had a typo there, but this is going to be on August 30th. We're going to sit down with some of our folks from our customer success team, and they're going to talk about the best practices that they know about from working with a lot of our customers about preparing for that holiday rush. And we know that can be a big time for a lot of our customers. So we hope you check that out as well. Thank you once again for tuning in. We love having you. We love seeing you. And we look forward to chatting with you at our next event. Peter, Mirzad, and Ashwin, thanks again. Thanks, Brett and Devin and everybody behind the scenes who've been answering questions. And we'll see you next time.